to Freedom, episode number 1. Hello, my name's Sean Terry, and I'd like to welcome you to my very first podcast at flip2freedom.com. And I'm here to help you escape the 9-to-5 and live the lifestyle of your dreams by learning how you can make a fortune flipping properties in your spare time, even if you're just getting started today. Now, in this episode, I'm going to talk about how I went from $0 to $10 million in net worth in just a handful of years. And also, if you'd like to learn more about me and learn more about our website here, you can go to flip2freedom.com. And on there, you have the ability to download a free report on exactly how to quit your day job in 19 weeks or less. It's a phenomenal report. We've got rave reviews about it, and you can download it for absolute free. Now, let's get right into basically my introduction to real estate. I first was introduced when I was about 21 years old. I was getting on ship in the down in San Diego, and I was going over to the Persian Gulf to go to war for the first Desert Storm there. And I had some time to kill, and I went over to a mall out over there, and I picked up a book called Nothing Down Real Estate by Robert Allen. Read through that book, and it was just amazing. But basically what happened was I was on ship, had nothing to do, and I read through that book, and I remember the day that we actually attacked Iraq. I turned 22 years old, and we were sitting there on the ship, and I just finished the book, and I was so excited to get back and start implementing what I've learned and start trying to buy real estate. But I remember we sat there with our platoon leader, and as we were going to attack Iraq, the next day we were sitting in port there, and he basically said, guess what, there's not a chance that you're going to come home. There's a very, very good chance you're not going to come home and to give everything you got on the battlefield. So that was very sobering, but you know what, I did come back, and I'm blessed every single day that I did have in my mind a second shot at life. So basically I went out and I started searching. When I got out of the Marine Corps in 1992, I was 22 years old, and I moved from San Diego to Arizona with a good friend of mine, and we started looking for properties. We didn't know what kind of properties to buy. We basically were looking at fourplexes and eightplexes and threeplexes, and didn't really have a clue. And also, too, it was 1992. It was one of the worst real estate depressions, of our time. Not as worse as when we're in now, for some people, but it was a pretty bad recession at the time, and I had no clue. Had no clue what that the market was bad, that the real estate was depressed. But anyways, we found this 8-unit apartment complex in Scottsdale, Arizona, my friend Scott and I, and we were able to negotiate a seller carry with the owner, and we took the property subject to the existing mortgage, and we purchased the property. I think we put like $20,000-$30,000 down, and we bought an 8-plex. We managed the whole thing. We collected the rents, we did the repairs, we cut the grass, we cut the palm trees, we took care of the pool, and it was an unbelievable learning experience for a 22-year-old kid. And that was my start, and also my finish into real estate, because that was the first and last property I did until 2003. After that, I got into public speaking and into sales training, and I did that for a while, basically from 1993-94 to 2002. And I went around. I travel every single weekend and train 500 to 1,000 people on sales techniques, on how to close sales, how to motivate, and how to train and understanding basically the business of sales. So I did that. I got completely sick of traveling every single weekend, and it was just a toll. I had my daughter at the time, and I was literally never home on the weekend. I was working all week, and it was just crazy. So I wanted to get out of that, and I actually started a pool and landscape company. We bought a house in 1999. I started a pool and landscape company and started doing that. And I basically found an incredible gentleman who actually built quality pools, and I found a good landscaper, and I basically said, I'll do all the sales, I'll do all the management, I'll basically do all the design, and basically I'm going to mark up your pool and your landscaping, and I'm going to turn around and sell it. And I actually did pretty good. I made a lot of money doing it, and did a lot of pools and a lot of landscaping, and and had some fun doing it. But it got wearing after a while when people called up and said their ficus tree or their hibiscus plant died, and we had to go chase someone down to go out and do that. And I knew that wasn't the ultimate thing. It was fun because I had freedom. I could come and go as I pleased, and I was good to be outside and actually help people build their dream landscapes, which was in backyards, which was fun. But I got involved in real estate in 2003. And I actually happened to be driving to a pool appointment, and I heard on the radio a gentleman that was talking about how you could tie up a property and flip it to a end user investor buyer, cash buyer, and you can make a profit. So basically, he said you could tie up a property under contract and at one price, let's say theoretically $100,000, and then you could turn around and sell that property for $110,000 without even owning it. You could just basically have the contract and sell the contract for $10,000. I was completely amazed. I had no clue that you could be able to do that. And but I ordered his tapes and course. I devoured it over the weekend, and that started my real estate basically career in the 2000s. So first off, what he taught was to knock on doors, knock on pre-foreclosures in 2003 in Arizona. So he basically said, get a list from your courthouse or get a list from someone that was the public record of pre-foreclosures. Go out, knock on the doors, and ask people if you can buy their house. And that was the basic concept. So I did exactly that. I got a list. I found a listing company, and I went out and I started knocking on doors. And I remember the first house I ever came up to when I had my list. I was sitting in my car. I had a Murano at the time, and I'm sitting there in front of this house. Actually, I was kind of parked down the street because I was nervous. And I remember looking at the house. It was beat up, had this big old massive truck, with these big monster type truck with the big monster wheels. And I'm sitting there looking and contemplating whether I should go in or not. Now, at the time, I remember I was listening to Think and Grow Rich from Napoleon Hill on my DVDs there, and he was motivating me, just do it, just go out there and just get it done. So I took my paper, my list I had there, and I walked up to the front door and I knocked on the door, and this gentleman in this nasty white beater shirt, that hadn't been washed in who knows how long. He was tall. He was about 6'4", 6'5", and I'm a pretty big guy. I'm about 6'1". But this guy was monstrous. He shaved his head, and he opened the front door, and my mouth swole up. I could not speak. I was like, it was just pathetic. And I basically wanted to say, hey, listen, I want to see if I can help buy your house or save you out of foreclosure. I don't know what I was trying to say at the time, but I could not get it out. But anyways, that was my first experience knocking on a door. I literally ran from that house back to my car, and I almost quit. I almost said, absolutely not. I'm not doing this. There's no way. This is impossible. I was like, it's crazy. But you know what? One thing I've learned in the Marine Corps is, and also just in life, quitters never win and winners never quit. And I don't have a quitter personality. So I just basically said, I'm going to go to the next one, and I'm going to go to the next one. I'm going to go to the next one. And see, when I have an obstacle in front of me, another thing I was learning in the Marine Corps is you got two different options. You can go, actually you got four different options. You can go under the obstacle, you can go around the obstacle to the left, you can go around the obstacle to the right, you can go over the obstacle, maybe one more, or you can blow through the obstacle. And my personality type is basically just blow through the obstacle any which way possible and just get it done. And that's what I did. So I went out there and I pounded doors. I pounded the streets and knocked on doors, talked to as many people I could. I went out to 20 to 30 houses a day trying to get my first deal just to prove that this could work. Now, I'm going to tell you, my friends, my family, even my wife, even though she is the most supportive person on the planet, at the time, thought I was a little bit crazy and a little bit overboard. But you know what? That can motivate you in two different ways. If someone tells you you can't do something, then, for me, it motivates me to prove them wrong. or you could just believe the other people's opinions, and then just quit. Well, again, my personality is just to do the opposite and find a way to make it happen and show everybody I was right. So that's what I did, and I got my first deal. It was a beat-up old house in Glendale, needed a bunch of repair, and I basically happened to knock on the door. I talked to the gentleman, and he was actually going to work at the time, and I said, "Hey, I want to buy your house. Can I help you out? It's going to foreclosure. Don't lose it. At least get some money." And he said, "Okay." And he said, "Well, let's set a meeting for 7:30 on the following night." So I got my contract together. I basically went to a Staples store and I found a residential real estate purchase contract. I didn't know what to say on it. I didn't know how to word it. I didn't know how to write it. And I went to the appointment at 7:30 at night. Now at the time it was in May, so it was kind of light out here. And I walked through the property and basically, I didn't know what to look for. The pool was beat up, and basically, I didn't know what to look for. I just basically walked the property and it looked like I knew what I was doing. We sat down, we started negotiating price, and he told me how much cash he wanted above and beyond his mortgage. And honestly, I didn't even I've been and did sales training. I did all that how to motivation and all that type of stuff, but I did not know how to sit down and what to say to close this guy to get the deal done. So I basically just agreed to whatever he said, and I wrote it down in the contract. And we ended up wanting basically to contract the property for $73,000, I believe it was, and it was just me actually. I contracted for $73,000, and I was so excited. And I mean, I couldn't believe it. I didn't know what I had, but I knew it was a deal. So then I had to turn around and I had to find a escrow company to basically open escrow. So I started searching around. I actually driving around in my neighborhood and going through the yellow pages to try to find a escrow company that would take the escrow and open up escrow. I didn't have any earnest money at the time I put down. I basically just bought the property for $73,000, and luckily he accepted it with no earnest money. And there I was off. Now I had to turn around and sell the property. So I didn't have any cash buyers. I didn't know any buyers. I didn't know any. I wasn't involved in the Arizona, the real estate, association. So I didn't know anybody that could potentially buy the property. So I basically had this contract. I had a closing date of 30 days later, and then what? Turn around and try to sell it, right? So what I did is I started looking through the newspaper for people that were selling houses, that had multiple numbers that they were selling houses. And I met this gentleman. I talked to him over the phone. I kind of tried to find out what his criteria was for buying houses, and I found out basically what the criteria was. And I told him about this house and said that I'd like to sell it for around $84,000. And he said, okay, let me check it out. So we made an appointment that following either the next day or so, whatever, and we went over there and walked through the property. I got permission through the owner to walk through with him. We walked through the whole thing, and he said, "I take it." We wrote up the contract. After we left there, we got in the car, went down to the local McDonald's, and sat there and wrote up a contract. Same exact contract, the purchase and sale contract I used from either Staples or Office Max, wherever I got it, and I wrote it up there. I took a $2,000 earnest money deposit, made out to the title company, Metro Title at the time, and I had a contract for $83,000. So I took that contract, I brought it back to the title company, and now I had two contracts. I had one for $73,000 and one for $83,000, $84,000, whatever it was, and now I was good. So I basically said, title company, do the rest. So they went out and they pulled the payoffs. They got the title report. They pulled all the information and basically got it all together. And they signed up the seller. They signed up the buyer. And I came in and signed, whatever I had to sign. And I basically got a check for $11,008 was my first check. And I mean, that right there, set in stone that it works, And for that point on, it was how big could I scale this thing? How many deals could I do a month? I mean, that's what I was basically looking for. Then my first year, from 2003, in that first year, I made over $134,000 my first year, and had a blast doing it. I mean, I figured out how the advertising worked. I figured out, knocking on doors. I worked with some bird dogs that found some properties for me, and I did, first from May to December. That's what my taxes were for $134,000. So. And that was 2003 to 2004. 2004, actually, I met a gentleman who basically, he was an investor buying properties from me, and I was selling properties to him. And what happened was we were negotiating back and forth. I was trying to get the highest price, he was trying to get the lowest price, and we basically just went back and forth. So what we did was we decided to form a company and start to work together. So we started working together in 2004, and we built a property portfolio of about 120 properties through 2004 and from the beginning part of 2005. Now, the market in Arizona was going up about 3 to 5 to 7% a month. It was just out of control. June, July of 2005, we were absolute at the height of the market. There was 5,000 of units on the MLS for sale at the time, which was the lowest in history. An average market in Arizona here is about 30 to 40,000 units, and we were at 5,000 units. I mean, you could not find a property. I mean, there was 5 and 6 and 10 offers on properties. So what we decided at that time is that we would sell our entire portfolio from May to November of 2005. We sold all 120 properties, and we made millions and millions and millions of dollars. It was unbelievable. We were getting wires, almost daily from closings that we had, and the coordination was just incredible. But it was just absolutely amazing. Just made an absolute fortune. Then we kind of sat in the sidelines for a while. For the next couple of years, we had some land holdings that we owned that we brought through the entitlements, the zoning, and properties, and we actually owned four properties, 138 acres in Tucson. We own 10 acres here and 20 acres out by the Glendale Arena. 28 acres. So we basically bought land holdings during that whole time we were building a property portfolio, and learned the whole zoning process. Learned how to find the highest and best use for a property, how to annex it, how to bring it through the zoning process. We hired the best attorneys in town to help us with that process. We dealt with civil engineers to do all the engineering and the platting and the sewer design and the street designs and all that type of stuff. And we dealt with the cities in the county to be able to bring it through the process. So that was an unbelievable learning experience. And by that time, I've built a net worth of well over $10 million. We had $30 million worth of real estate that we owned at the time, and it was incredible. Now, obviously, the market started to fall out here in Arizona pretty bad. So we had to kind of change our business model. Our business model was, to buy properties, renovate them, and turn around and sell them. So that kind of went away when the market crashed. So what we did is we said, okay, we're going to sell to basically a core niche of people, and basically it was to where we were going to sell cash flow properties to investors across the country. And basically what we did was we found properties that were able to cash flow. We would go in and renovate them to the hilt. We would go, actually to a rental retail. We would line up a tenant. We do an inspection report. We do a 3-month rent guarantee, and we would package up this property almost like a stock, and then we'd sell it to investors all across the country. And we've done that. That's been our business model. We've done for a while, and then also too. Wholesale properties. The exact same thing when I first got started in 2003. We would tie up a property on a wholesale basis, and then we turn around and sell it, and we make the spread in between. We're a little bit more sophisticated now to where we have a complete marketing system. We have websites set up, and we have a way to deliver properties fast, and we sell properties within hours. We have a very large database of investors that know that we put out quality deals. But basically, that's what we do now. And today's market, and that's how I got started in real estate back in 1992. Kind of got away from it, and then got back into it in 2003, and then just crank from there. So now I'm going to tell you my goal for these episodes. We're basically putting together this podcast is a couple different things. One is that I've listened to a lot of different podcasts that from different people that are investors, whatever. But there's nothing really out there to where an active investor. I mean, I buy and sell properties every single day. I'm dealing with sellers. I'm dealing with buyers. I'm dealing with doing contracts, negotiating, putting them out on websites, selling properties, fixing up properties, flipping properties, retail flipping, wholesale flipping to investors. Cash flow properties, basically the whole gamut, and I'm doing it on a daily basis. And I absolutely love doing what I do. I'm excited about it. And what I want to do is provide a podcast for the sole purpose to show you through these podcasts exactly how you can do the same thing. Because it's not rocket science. I'm not the smartest guy in the at all. I mean, I don't even have a college education. I got out of the Marine Corps and then just went from there. So I know there's people that are listening to this right now that have a lot more talent than I do. They're a lot more educated than I do. And a lot more skills than I do that could do absolutely phenomenal if they had some information on how to do it and then someone to believe in them. So my goal for this podcast is to teach you exactly step by step what to do, how to quit your job, how to get out of the 9 to 5, how to escape and live the lifestyle of your dreams. I'm telling you, I can't imagine driving to rush hour traffic and going to a job and answering up to a boss. I mean, it makes my skin crawl. I can't even imagine doing that and being capped on income or just making enough. The beauty about real estate is you can make as much or as little as you want. And that's why I put this together. Because I am going to share with you, case studies from investors I work with, case studies at our own different properties, and basically show you exactly what it takes to be a full-time real estate investor. Like I said, the lifestyle is, I have a house in California. We spend the summers over there, and it's on the beach with the kids. It's like a family beach house, and we go out there and take the whole summers off, and hang out the beach and for 2 solid months, just family, and it's just so much fun. And I couldn't do that before, especially in the Marine Corps, and especially when I was traveling all across the country doing sales training and stuff. So my goal is to inspire you that you can go out and you can do it, and you can escape the 9 to 5. You don't have to quit your job tomorrow, but if you had a game plan to do it, where you could go out and make $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 on your first deal, I want to be there to be able to give you the information so you can do it. So in the future episodes, where I'm going to talk about fixing up properties, wholesaling and the whole gamut. So stay tuned with us. I'm going to put these out every 2 weeks or more. And at Flip to Freedom, we're going to basically put a comprehensive training site together, a membership site where you can log in and you can have a step-by-step course that's delivered to you weekly with unbelievable content through video and audio where you can watch it and you'll know exactly what to do week by week to set up your business so you can escape the 9 to 5 in 19 weeks or less. And that's my goal, and my goal is to have all these success stories of people who took the information, applied it, and became successful. So until the next episode, God bless, have a great day, and we'll talk soon.